Okay, I'll call the Monona City Council meeting for Monday, March 4th, 2019 to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Moore. Here. Alder Spate.
Here.
Alder Kitzlar.
Here.
Alder Kuhr.
Here.
Alder Groupie. Here. Acting Mayor Wood.
Here.
Mayor O'Connor is excused.
Please rise and join me with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the February 18th meeting, including the closed session?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any changes? Nancy?
Yeah, under new business, all the way down to the bottom of the page where I thanked community members at the beginning of that paragraph. It's thanked, and then more important, in the middle of the paragraph where it says nuclear energy is not renewable, so it's not included in the options. It's nuclear energy is not emission-free. It's not that it's not renewable, it's that it's not emission-free.
Okay.
And then the next paragraph, top of the page, top of the next page, Alder Moore stated that initial efforts for carbon reduction or carbon reductions
Okay.
set by 2030 weren't enough.
Anything else?
And then finally, in the third paragraph down on that page, where we're talking about the schools, just that I agreed to, that the school should be moved into the community bucket, if you will.
Where are you, what line are you changing?
Right after it says the city has no control over what they do,
Mhm.
just to put another sentence in there that says, I agreed to move the schools into the community bucket.
Okay.
That's it.
Are the first and seconds okay with those three changes?
Yes.
Yes.
Second.
That was the second.
Oh, who was first? Oh, okay. All right, then, any other changes? All those in favor of approving the minutes as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The minutes are approved. Appearances. We have a number of appearances. I believe these are all on the 100% renewable energy resolution. First, I'll go through the registrants. Who would Dan Costello, 5705 Cove Circle in Monona, wants to register in favor. Beth Esser, 6009 Ridgewood Avenue, would like to register in favor. Heather Gates, 207 West Dean Avenue, would like to register in favor. Lisa Gunlock, 404 Midland Lane, would like to register in favor. And John Sumi for MG&E, would like to register in favor of the 2/28/19 draft. Is that the one approved by the Sustainability Committee?
Yeah.
Mr. Sumi here?
Yeah,
Is that the one that was approved by the
that
Sustainability?
is the one that, I think that was revised
Yes.
post-sustainability
Yes.
committee,
The most recent one, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank
the
you.
one in the packet.
All right, and then registered to speak, we have 5. Teresa Rademacher, 5201 McKenna Road, would like to speak in favor. Teresa, you want to come on up? And if we can, keep it to 3 minutes, be appreciated.
was kind of hoping to go last. I have just a very, very brief, kind of a wrap-up thing to say. Last meeting, we heard from a number of people who said some things and talked about the health benefits of clean energy, talked about the financial benefits of how it is actually at a point now where solar is more affordable than maintaining the status quo. There were just a couple points that I just wanted to reiterate. One of the reasons why this resolution passing is so important is that it sends a very clear message to our energy provider, MG&E, who often says that they act upon their customers' wishes. And so this lets them know what our wishes are. And when your energy provider uses clean energy, then you naturally use clean energy, right? And also at last council's meeting, there was the concern that we don't know exactly what this might look like. And to pass a resolution without having a detailed plan on how you're going to implement it can be frightening and uncomfortable. But I just want to remind people that we do these things all the time in our day-to-day life. We set a goal, and then we backcast in order to get to that goal. You say to yourself, I need to be to the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, that means I have I have to wake up at this time, right, and do all these things to get there. You say, I want to improve my health. I want to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever you want to lose. This is how I'm going to get to it. I want to put myself on an energy diet. I want to use less energy. This is how I'm going to do it. First you set the goal, then you make the plan for how to do it. And the only thing that we need to know is that it is achievable. And we can look to a number of cities across the world, across the country, and use those templates. So I encourage you not to fret about not having the plan yet perfectly crafted and to do the right thing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up is Abby Attoon, is that right? 2017 Bristol Street in Middleton, and are you here on behalf of the city of Middleton?
I am not speaking on behalf of the city formally. I staff our city's sustainability committee.
Okay.
I'm the director of community development for the city of Middleton, and I am here to speak in support of the 100% renewable energy resolution. In July of last year, I spoke in support of Middleton's resolution. At that time, Middleton's hurdle to overcome was to adopt a resolution that had really lofty goals without understanding exactly how we were going to reach those goals. And I encouraged Middleton's Common Council at the time to, in the words of Daniel Burnham, make no small plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood. Our council adopted the goal unanimously, and now, based in part on the resolution, we have funding from the Office of Energy Innovation to develop a comprehensive energy plan that will provide us with a roadmap for how to get to 100% renewable energy. We also have widespread support in our community for the resolution and the goals. Monona is actually ahead of us in Middleton because when we adopted our resolution, we didn't have the funding in place to develop a plan to show us how we can get there, but Monona is also part of that grant through the Office of Energy Innovation. I am really excited that communities in Dane County are coming together around goals to address climate change, and I think that there are opportunities for us to partner on these projects to make best use of staff time, to share experiences and best practices, to become more competitive on grant funding opportunities, which we were able to do with the OEI grant, and eventually to gain economies of scale on any capital projects should we decide to collaborate or partner on that going forward. So tonight I encourage you, the Monona acting mayor and city council, to make big plans for your community. And I think I can speak on behalf of Middleton to say that we are looking forward to collaborating and partnering with you on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Dan Ferber. John. 4700 Alice Avenue in Madison, speaking in favor.
After I ate my name clearly, I guess. Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to you again, and it was very informative to hear your questions on February 18th at the meeting then, and hear about the interest and that you were really being introspective about looking at this. So I think, as has been mentioned, there's a lot that you can learn by work in collaboration with other communities. So you're not alone in this, and everybody is looking at how to make progress in this direction. From the discussion too, I mean, you're obviously concerned about costs here, and it's very important to realize that the costs of clean energy are dropping, and that it's become more cost effective as it becomes more standard, that it's adopted more widely, and that this will help then as we move to electrification of our energy systems, which includes vehicles and heat pumps, and in general using clean energy instead of fossil fuels. And that energy efficiency is also very cost effective at reducing your energy demand and keeping the costs down. And it's also important to realize that as you move to electric components, a lot of these actually are much more reliable than fossil fuel power sources of energy, and actually can reduce operating costs over time. So that's a critical factor I think you can look at as another advantage as you move towards clean energy. Now, also another advantage is, in addition to that fossil fuels can become more expensive, is that you can also have more energy security, because there'll be more local energy and storage, as well as producing clean energy jobs in this community. I would throw out one little precaution though: if you start really saving enough energy and money, you might have to lower people's tax bills, or else find something else to spend the money on. I know how hard that is for cities to do, so I just want you forewarned on that one. You talked about renewable energy credits last time, and there are reasons those are valid. I mean, everybody likes to do 100% directly in their community, but the key thing is you want to reduce the equivalent carbon dioxide to what you're producing in the community, and sometimes it's more cost effective to produce that reduction elsewhere, because it really doesn't matter where a pound of carbon is reduced, it's equal anywhere, and it can be more cost effective to do, say, energy efficiency measures in the community or buy renewable energy credits elsewhere rather than do them here. And then also with technology, costs will come down on some of these things over time, so you can choose the most cost effective means of reducing carbon without being imposed that you have to go to 100% immediately in the community here. And for buildings, which are a key component of energy use, that the build standards are set at the state level, you still have options as a community to provide incentives or other programs to help induce both commercial and other buildings to move to more efficient standards, even if you can't set the standards alone. Also, as was mentioned, you have an energy service
You're
provider.
just over your 3 minutes, but so if you could wrap
Okay,
up.
I will do that quickly, thank you. Work with your service provider, MG&E, because they're moving in the right direction, but not fast enough, so I think you can help influence that, and we'll keep the cost of your energy down. And finally, I hope you will also consider working on public transit, maybe together with the city of Madison or otherwise. This is a key component of reducing fossil fuel use and energy demand and keeping the cost down and reducing emissions. By the way, there's another aspect of that too, and that's providing equity for a lot of people in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Peter McKeever, 6,06302 Southern Circles. Would like to speak in favor.
Thank you, Acting Mayor Wood and members of the council. It's nice to see you all again. I'm going to speak to this resolution in a somewhat broader context of sustainability, if I may. When I was a member of this council some years ago and proposed a sustainability committee, I was hopeful and believed that a resolution such as this would come before this body. It does so this evening as a result in part of a much greater awareness among our residents of the need to make changes. There have been many events that have increased our collective awareness. Foremost is climate change. But each of us sees the world changing in ways that disturb us. Fewer backyard birds, fewer pollinating insects, more subdivisions on what used to be agricultural fields, fewer dairy farms, more pavement, and still more traffic jams. The list goes on. Everything on that list is caused by human activity in one way or another. We must change our ways, and I think that we are ready to do so. It is not enough for the council to just adopt this resolution. Its principles and its aspirations must be implemented. When this council acts, when the committee acts, when staff act, when all of us who are residents of Monona act, let us ask this question. Does this policy, this action, this decision, this purchase, this choice we are contemplating, does it minimize the use of substances taken from the earth? Metallic ores, fossil CO2, heavy metals, sodium chloride? Or is there a better way, a more sustainable way? Does this action policy that we are contemplating minimize the use of substances produced by society, such as pesticides, chemical fertilizers, herbicides, antibiotics, endocrine disruptors? Or is there a better way, a more sustainable way? Does this choice that we are choosing to make minimize degradation, easy for me to say, degradation by physical means, drawing down groundwater, deforestation, water pollution, air pollution, loss of farmland? Or is there a better way? And finally, does this policy, decision, action, purchase, choice that we are contemplating reduce obstacles to people's health, to their influence, to their competence, to their impartiality and meaning? How does it impact people? Not just our residents, not just people who live in Monona, but, for example, our neighbors, the workers who made the product in this country or another, other communities far and wide, as well as those close to home, which may suffer from coal dust or bad water or unhealthy conditions caused directly or indirectly by the policy, the action, the manufacture, the purchase, the choice that we make here in Monona. Monona is a small, close, thriving community. Let us be the leader in becoming 100% renewable energy and a sustainable city in all respects. I thank you for considering this resolution. I assume you're going to adopt it, and I thank you for that. Our children's children will be most grateful, far more than I will be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Next up is Christy Schilling, 4502 Gordon Avenue. Monona would like to speak in favor.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Christy Schilling. I'm a resident at 4502 Gordon Avenue in Monona. I'm also the CEO of the Monona Eastside Business Alliance. I also, like Mr. McKeever, thank you for considering this as an option. I definitely support the 100% renewable energy resolution. I think it's really well known that Monona has an established reputation as a leader in sustainability, and I think this is a natural next step since many cities in our area and in our country and world are taking these steps as well. I encourage the council to be brave and bold and continue to be a leader in this arena. The time has come where we have to take change, and it's always nice to be a leader rather than a follower. We'll learn a lot in that process. I think we have numerous residents in Monona with great experience in this field that would be willing to step up and help us plot the roadmap to 100% renewable energy. We stand to be at the forefront of this new economic stimulus, improving our air quality, not only for the health of our children, but for all of us as we age as well, our quality of life, and more job creation. So I think the gains far outweigh any possible losses that we might take in this. I think time has come, and I really appreciate you considering this option.
All right, thank you. And next up, the last speaker, Mark Buffett, 4912 Wallace Avenue, would like to speak in favor.
Yeah, Mark Buffett, 4912 Wallace Avenue. Thank you, Council, for considering this resolution. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight. But I was compelled to, as I looked at the pictures in this room, if you look at all these pictures, they're beautiful. And each one of them represents land and environment, air, water, earth. In our modern industrial age, we're often disconnected. Too many people are disconnected from what grounds us, the earth. And I dare say I'm going to invoke like the spirit of Carl Sagan, The Little Blue Planet, and Wendell Berry, who is an author who I learn a lot from, who speaks about the spiritual connection to the world, to the land, and how important that is. And I think of our native ancestors and their connection to the spirit of the land, the spirit of the animals, and how important that was, that we don't abuse it. It's sacred, and it's something that we need to revere. And so I think of our earth as the great garden. I think of it as the Garden of Eden. This is a garden planet that was provided for us, and there's too much desecration going on when you look at what it looks like when you cut off the top of a mountain to excavate the coal. And not only what it does to this beautiful mountain that is no longer there, but the residual effects of the slurry ponds that seep into the water, that ruin the land, but it also ruins the people that land is so important to. And just by us sending $14 billion a year across our state lines to bring in coal, where we can produce energy right here to offset that degradation of the land, I think is an important thing to consider. And it touches on a lot of the themes that other people have been talking about. What are we leaving for the children? Our children, our grandchildren, 7 generations from now, if we're lucky enough to be around as a species, because seriously, you know, that's really being called into, that's a question that we're talking about. Isn't it crazy that we'd be talking about that? But it's a reality. So what we're doing here is joining a wave of other communities, and we're joining a spirit of people that have gone before us, and people of faith, but people of that understand our connection to this earth and to this planet, and understand that it's our responsibility. What are we going to leave our children and our children's children? Thank you.
Thank you. There's one other registration in favor, Burnett Caldwell, 5007 McKenna Road in Monona. And then we also have 3 additional emails that were received. No, more than, 80 total? Oh, I see. So approximately 80 total, including a number since the last meeting. Thank all those people for their input. Seeing no other appearances, I'll declare the appearance section closed. There is no public hearing. Consent agenda, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. Council action items, unfinished business. 1A, consideration of resolution 18-2-2238, a resolution to address climate change through 100% clean energy and resilience from the Sustainability Committee. More, or is there a motion?
Yes, I'd like to offer an amendment to the March 4th meeting, the resolution that was presented at the March 4th meeting, and draw your attention to the first of the 3 resolutions that you received in your packet tonight. In doing so,
Okay, so you're moving a substitute resolution from what we had last time?
Correct. Yes.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second it.
Okay, go ahead. More?
Okay, so this resolution, substitute resolution, differs in really three ways. One, as mentioned at the last meeting, there were some typos which mostly Attorney Cole brought to our attention and that were already approved by the Sustainability Committee for changes. Alder Groupie was kind enough to point out another typo earlier yesterday, which is the very first sentence in the resolution where it says create. The very first sentence, it should say creating. You see that, Joan?
Yes, thank you.
And as was mentioned at the last meeting, the 2 footnote definitions of clean energy and resiliency have been added as footnotes. And then finally, you'll notice that one of the whereas, I believe it's the 7th, be it resolved, or whereas, I think it's the 7th whereas, where you'll see one piece of it is crossed out and a new one is substituted in this first iteration. And that change was made to reflect the fact that the exact numbers that our utility currently operating with as it relates to renewable versus fossil fuel energies is constantly in flux, and frankly is getting better all the time. And so we wanted to change that to make sure that it reflects more accurately.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Other comments? Statements? I just wanted to take a minute. The third draft that we have, there were a couple things that the city attorney had suggested. I guess the most significant one, to me anyway, was in the final, to be it further resolved clause, he had suggested possibly changing, instead of making it a requirement, proclaiming the intent of the mayor and city council. Just wanted to call it to everyone's attention in case there were any comments on that or desires to amend it to that effect. Okay. Chad, did you want to say something? No. I thought I saw your hand go up.
I'll just say I'm tired of the status quo. I'm tired of, the millions of people that their lives are shortened because we've decided it's okay to spew filth into the air and water and into the land. Everyone in this room was born into a society and a culture that has little regard for other life. And if, people care about themselves, they don't often care about their neighbors, and they really don't seem to care about the communities that are around them. And I don't say that because I think most people are uncaring. I say it because I see the world we've built. I think we're much better than the world that we inhabit, than the ways that we treat each other and power our homes and our automobiles. I mean, we've all inherited this, and people have made choices that are not good enough. So I just want to commend everyone in this community and on the council who have forced us to act on this. I mean, I know for many of us, it's easy to feel like we are powerless, but we're not powerless. So I celebrate this day, and I hope this passes. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else?
I'll just speak to the specific point about that language. We did talk about it at the last meeting, and there was some Suggestion from Alder Core about potentially softening it to make it more palatable to future councils. And then Alder Moore countered that keeping it direct and firm would be an important statement to make from the city to the rest of our surrounding community. And I don't know that we came to a consensus on it, but that was sort of the discussion that came last time to that point.
Okay. Alder Kitzler.
I'll just offer my comments of support in the sense that, I think while Monona is a small community, I think we can make a big impact, and I really agree with other sentiments that have been shared that leading by example is no small feat, and if Monona can do it, other communities can do it, and I think this is a great resolution in that step, and I think there's a lot to come out of this and a lot of work to do, and so this is just a pebble being thrown in the ocean, and then the ripples will hopefully happen, in future years. So, I look forward to seeing this through. I look forward to it impacting my life and the municipality in general. So,
Right. Anyone else? Alderman Moore?
Yeah. So I just want to say a couple of things as it relates to Alder Kerr's comment and that Alder Groupie just mentioned, and also as it relates to some questions that came up last week. Number one, as it relates to Alder Kerr's, it's certainly my understanding that any council in the future could make a different decision, as they could with virtually any and everything that we do here in this council and for the city. But it's safe to say that this, very safe to say that this cat is out of the bag, which is to say there's, the majority of the planet, and certainly this county, understands that our very future depends on addressing what is this existential threat of climate change. There is demand, and we can act locally. So, frankly, the return on investment is getting better and better and better all the time. And then I also wanted to address, as I said, Alder Kitzler's concern earlier that that much of this may seem out of our control, and also actually Alder Wood's question regarding even making our 35% renewables by 2025. Which is indicated in this resolution. And I just wanted to reiterate that, one, there are very specific projects and gains to be made on both the city and the community front. And that reiterate that we, of course, are doing a plan. We will be doing a plan this year, give ourselves a specific roadmap to get there with the grant monies that we've received. We will be bringing specific projects to the council and to committees as appropriate in the immediate future to act upon it. And perhaps most importantly, wanted to point out that we're at about 20% renewables right now as a city, as a municipality. We get about 20% of our energy from renewables. There are two ways for us to add to that, both of which, frankly, we could do right now, tonight. The first one is that we could join Green Power Tomorrow, which is the program that our utility MG&E offers to communities, businesses, residents to purchase their electrical needs through what is essentially a REC. This is all a REC business, which is to say a renewable energy certificate or credit. And with a nod, with a very endearing nod to our staff member Brad, I asked him to run the numbers based on 2018, and because MG&E has lowered the cost of going to renewable from what used to be over 2 cents to now 1 cent per kilowatt, is all you pay in a premium, if you will. Brad ran the numbers, and I kid you not, this is the number he gave me: $16,999.96. So, with an endearing nod to Brad, that's just to say, if we wanted to go 100% right now, we could pass, $17,000 additional in our budget and sign up for Green Power tomorrow, and we'd have 100% of our municipal energy. We have
100%
not, huh?
100 or 35%?
100%. That would give us 100%.
Okay. I guess
So-
I thought it
So,
was more like 80. But, go ahead, I'm sorry.
so the second thing, and I'll explain why we're not offering that resolution, but then the second thing is that, a transition strategy for all communities, and I would encourage people again to go to the Madison plan that's already been created, is to purchase other RECs. And RECs, frankly, that are local, and it's right in the resolution. The seventh, be it resolved, speaks specifically to the issue of purchasing RECs and purchasing those RECs on a local level to support local generation of renewable energy. MG&E is RECs did not come from Wisconsin, and it's one of the reasons why we haven't signed up for Green Power tomorrow. Because we always want to look to RECs that are local, and therefore energy that's not transited over the entire country. But again, those are ways in which we could easily make up the difference to meet the goals, to the extent that we're not able to generate everything right here on our own roofs. Just, again, I think it's very, these goals, they're certainly stretch goals, but they are very manageable.
Okay. Just in regard to the cost for that, actually during the last meeting, I had asked Brad how many kilowatts we used, and for all both buildings and all other types of facilities, the city consumes 1,844,000. 131 kilowatt hours. And if it's a penny, I think it was an additional penny.
Additional penny for that, which the number that he gave me is for the 80% that we don't already get from renewable. So if you took 80% of that kilowatt number, and then you took it at a penny each, that's what it.
Okay. We can do the math for ourselves. All right. Thanks. I did have following up on that on the community-wide electric needs. Do we know what the current percentages for community-wide renewable energy use?
We don't, but that's something that we can generate via our utility. And one of the first steps that we'll be taking post our action tonight will be to be working with our MG&E representatives to establish a MOU with MG&E, and also that's certainly part of our planning process to make sure we're very much ahead on a lot of the data we've collected as a city, and but we'll be working with MG&E on what other kinds of data we need and what other kinds of actions we need. We need our utility as our partner in order to make this work, and they're very willing and able, and I appreciate that John is here tonight to work with us to get that done.
All right, good, thank you. Any other comments or questions or Alder?
I wholeheartedly support this resolution. I just want to bring up the point that this is a beginning. Alder Moore has done a tremendous amount of work, as is the Sustainability Committee and all of you in the room. I appreciate you showing up tonight. I do want to point out that this is probably going to mean more work for our staff, who are already stretched quite lean. And so I want this body to be mindful that when staff comes to us with needs, that we are supportive. If we really want to make a difference and see this resolution through, we need to act mindfully.
Okay. Any other comments? Alder Kirby?
I guess just generally, I also want to express my support, just on a personal note, for this resolution, and my appreciation for everybody's participation. Hearing that we've received over 80 emails over the course of, discussing this item is humbling and very heartening to know that we live in a community where so many people care about what happens in the future. I personally have a lot of anxiety about climate change and nightmares about rivers of plastic, which I talk about often. And I'm a person of privilege, so thinking about just starting here with people who have the resources and ability to make an impact and see that spread. And I'm just really proud of it. I told my dentist about it today because I was so excited that we were going to be talking about it tonight. So again, it takes a village, and I just think the support and the outpouring of enthusiasm is really remarkable, so thank you.
All right. Anyone else? All right, well, I will just say that with the mayor out of town, that puts me in the role of acting mayor, so while I do have the awesome power that goes along with that, the downside is I don't get to vote on this, but certainly if I was voting, I would be voting in favor of it. And with that, we have a motion on the floor. With all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right.
Thank you all.
They're not gonna stick around.
Guys should go out, celebrate.
Compostable.
Sing Kumbaya.
Well, we're not going to go into closed session.
No. Same with the firefighters.
Right, yeah. So item 1B was intended to be, or was on there so that if we wanted to go into closed session for the Four Lakes Yacht Club litigation or the firefighters contract, we could. I don't think there's any need to do that. We'll be considering the firefighters. We'll be voting on the firefighters contract later.
Yep, under business.
That's basically been resolved under the same, essentially the same terms that we had earlier. So, and the Four Lakes Yacht Club, as you know, was we had a settlement agreement. The city approved it at their last meeting. That's now been signed by the yacht club and returned to the city today. So I don't see personally any need to go into closed session on either of those items. But if someone thinks they want to do that, you can make a motion. All right, then we'll move on to 6.
Do you have to move to table anything?
Yes, so in 6D is discussion and possible action on items arising from the closed session. Since we didn't have the closed session, there's really nothing to act on. So to 2A, new business, consideration of resolution 19-3-2329, approval of a cost-sharing agreement between the City of Madison and City of Monona for the reconstruction of Bridge Road. Public Works Director, Mr. Stefani.
Thank you. Tonight is the first reading for the Bridge Road Reconstruction Agreement. It goes to the Public Works Committee on March 6th and then back here again on March 18th. Similar to the Atwood contract that
We need to
City
keep
Council.
that.
Mark,
Cedar.
could you,
We have to keep the, yeah.
Similar to the contract that City Council recently approved. And also Tompkins Drive, and then similar to Monona Drive that we had. Attorney Cole did review this and approved the contract as well. The 2019 capital budget has just over $2 million in funding for this project. And Appendix A of the agreement covers the engineering estimate for both communities for this project. And we have approximately 0.232 miles of shared center line. The project total is 0.417 miles. And Monona will be the lead on the project. The prices outlined in Appendix A are not hard numbers. They will be adjusted based on actual costs. So.
Questions? And we did discuss at Personnel and Finance, where this was approved, that the bids have already come back.
We received the bid for this project last Thursday. I just got the breakdowns today. I have not looked at them yet to present information, but overall, they came in about $30,000 less than what the engineer's estimate was. So, so far, so good.
Right, which is really good news, because there's been a couple of really significant contracts for road work in Madison that came in like way over the.
Significantly high, right.
Aldermore?
Just as it relates to the bids or the RFP, I know that as a city, we've really tried to be attentive to the amount of materials that are being demolished, that are being recycled. Did our RFP include the expectation that?
I don't have that answer.
Okay.
I can ask Strand how they wrote the project manual though.
Okay.
Like recycling the asphalt from the roadway, that kind of thing?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean, if you may remember the riverfront project, we recycled just under 90% of what came out of the riverfront, and I thought that it is now kind of a best practice as it relates to demolition.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something that takes extra staff time. I mean, all the contractors know about it, so I'm assuming that it's kind of standard boilerplate in our contracts now, but I just wanted to.
They typically do mill and reuse that material elsewhere, but we'll double check on that.
Thanks, Dan.
Any other questions on that? All right. Moving on then to 2B, consideration of Resolution 19-3-2330, approving a proposal from MSA Professional Services for design and construction administration services for the Winnequa Road Bridge Replacement Project. Mr. Stefani.
Thank you. This is here for the first reading tonight as well. March 6th, it will go to the Public Works Committee and then back here again on March 18th. The 2019 capital budget has $85,000 in there for design services. We did send an RFP to our 3 engineers for Public Works. MSA and Strand did submit proposals and Verbecker did not. They don't have a staff on hand with this experience. MSA did provide the lowest cost proposal, and they do have some extensive experience when it comes to bridge design and bridge projects. The design services fee provided by MSA is $73,130, and if approved in our 2020 capital budget, construction administration services will be about $16,320. Total proposal cost $89,450. Previously, Alderwood in Finance did ask if this is not to exceed the design services. Typically it is, but we might see for the construction administration observation, we have 80 hours written in the RFP. For some reason, we spend more hours out there that will go up based on simple hourly rate. The design team for MSA is Greg Barucki and Leah Rhodes. Between the two of them, they have over 200 bridge projects. Greg has been a project manager in the past for the city of Monona, previously at SCS and BT Squared. He designed the 2011 Belle Isle Street project, the 2012 Belle Isle dredging project, provided services for Monona Drive Phase 3 construction administration for our utilities, and Broadway Water Main and Schluter Beach channel dredging. He designed that as well. Other information for MSA, the other staff that's on the team, they range between 350 and 600 bridges designed and constructed, and over the last 5 years, over 50 bridges. So some information on the bridge itself. It was constructed in 1960. The substructure and superstructure is in poor condition. The abutment piles are decaying and minor buckling, and the bridge deck is significantly delaminated. Upon completion, we're going to apply for the Dane County Bridge Aid Grant, and we do qualify for this project, and it can reimburse up to 50% of the project cost. So.
Alder Pickthall?
Is there any thought on heightening the bridge? It seems pretty low. I don't know what the measurements are. I'm wondering if even like a canoe could get under there.
Fishing boats can get under there.
Oh, can they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much more they can raise the bridge, but they did bring that up in the discussion with the RFP. If they can raise it, they will. I'm not sure how much.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyone else? Alderman Moore?
I think we brought this up with Alderwood, but I understand from speaking to a few folks that live on Winnequa that well, this is just the bridge. Forgive me. I was going to Winnequa Road. Forgive me.
Okay. Anyone else? I had a question. So this is a total, complete replacement of the bridge, correct?
For engineering.
Oh, I know, right.
Yeah.
But that's the plan, is that
Yes.
it's not just a deck replacement?
No,
it's
it's a full replacement of the Winnequa Road Bridge.
Okay. And you did say at finance that they will be keeping one lane open at all times.
Right. We wrote the RFP to require one lane open at all times because it's basically a dead-end road. So they have to allow for traffic in and out, emergency traffic in and out. And the contractor will be required to build that bridge, keeping one lane open. And they have done it before. Greg and Leah and the rest of the team, they have designed bridges with that requirement in the past.
Probably at cost to the project, or only guess, maybe not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
And you'd also mentioned you had explored a secondary access.
Right. Back during capital budget time, I was considering looking into a second bridge connecting to Broadway. The engineers thought that the slopes were too great, and the traffic would probably be too much for the road, the current road, Winnequa Road through there. It's a very narrow road, so we scrapped that and just going with the one bridge.
Okay. Well, perhaps if that area, when that area gets redeveloped, that will be an opportunity for them to have. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you.
For the bond? Yeah.
No, for the, don't.
Yeah.
For that too, okay. All right. 2C, update discussion on status of Wisconsin DNR Knowles Nelson Stewardship Grant application. Says Park and Recs Director, but he's not here, so.
Yeah, I'll take this one.
Okay, Brian.
Thank you. Acting Mayor, so I just wanted to give you a quick update on what's going on with the grant. I put a memo in your packet just to kind of summarize where we were at with the grant and the objections we received from two members of the JFC on this. Since I wrote this memo, we have been in contact with the DNR and our staff members from our various local legislators to try to address some of the questions related to the objections. So we've resubmitted that grant application with the hope and intent that that information will hopefully resolve the objections. When we get more information from the DNR on how that process is proceeding, I'll be sure to let the council know. But as of now, that's our first goal, is to try to get information out to the parties that address their questions on kind of how the funds are being allocated for the park project.
Okay. Questions, comments, Alder Kerr?
I just wanted to let everyone know, since the governor's budget came out last week, as part of the budget, he renewed the stewardship program for 2 years, which is unusual. It's usually renewed for 5 years. It's really disappointing, frankly. He renewed it for 2 years and then asked the program to be studied, which means that it could be in jeopardy. So if you have a moment to contact your legislators and discuss this and voice your concern, it impacts Monona, but it also impacts the entire state and a lot of the conservation projects that are happening. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Anyone else? Mark, were you here staying to speak on this, or just the next item?
Next time.
Okay.
I did.
Good, yeah.
I think just repeat these. Brian said. We did resubmit the information that they requested. We should hear him back here, I assume this week. So we claim that we answered all the questions that they needed, the information. So hopefully we'll get an answer soon.
Okay. Speaking with the city attorney this afternoon, my understanding is even if we didn't, worst case scenario, that we could reduce the grant request to below the $250,000 threshold, so it wouldn't have to go to joint finance.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple different options that we will explore over the next couple days. And that is one that we could modify the grant request to get under the threshold for JFC review. Obviously, then we'd be taking on more financial responsibility for the park, but that's something we will take a look at.
Right. But still, I mean, that change, I assume, would also have to be approved by DNR.
Right. Yep.
And they might, just one thought occurred to me. I don't know if this has happened to other Dane County communities or not, but maybe the Dane County Cities and Villages lobbyists could let it Forbes know. Not suggesting that we would be singled out because we're in Dane County or anything, but it's possible. Okay, anything else on that? All right, then 2D rather, consideration of resolution 19-3-2332 authorizing the issuance and sale of $6 million in general obligation promissory note series 2019A. Mark?
Yes, so this is just the, I forgot to have Leah star this, if somebody could take it out of order. Basically what this is the authorization for our Jeff Belangi to start working with the bondholders to come back at the next meeting with the final numbers. So what we're borrowing here is the 2009 capital budget, which was approved last year. $3.5 million is for the general capital budget. TIF was in there at $410,000, water $500,000, storm $100,000, $490,000 for additional TIF, which was basically items that were approved last year, contracts that were approved last year towards the end of the year, but we did not borrow for because of timing issues. So that is part of the $490,000, and then the settlement for the yacht club is in there to make up the $6 million.
Okay. First then, is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Alder Groupie, did you want to?
Nope.
Okay. Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Mark, did you have anything else?
No, I didn't have anything else.
Okay. Any questions for Mark? So this is the one thing that came up in finance, that my understanding is the settlement check will be cut in the next,
Probably mid next week.
yeah, something like that. And that will come out of the general fund balance, and then that will be paid back when we get the proceeds of this borrowing.
Correct.
Okay.
We want a roll call.
Oh, thank you for reminding me to actually have us vote on it. I almost got through the whole meeting without doing that. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Groupie?
Aye.
Excuse me, Alder Moore?
Aye.
Alder Spate?
Aye.
Alder Kitzler?
Aye.
Alder Court?
Aye.
Motion carries. Two E is consideration of resolution 19-3-2331 proclaiming the month of May as Historic Preservation and Archaeology Month from the Landmarks Commission. So I'll call on Alder Wood to talk about that. Well, I think it's fairly self-explanatory. May is the Historic Preservation Month, both federally and statewide. Historic preservation and archaeology. One of the things that we're going to be doing, hopefully, is installing a plaque at the Monona Mound on North Monona Drive during that month, and also have a dedication ceremony, which will be at the library instead of on site, because there just isn't enough room, and it wouldn't be safe basically to have very many people show up if there's no room. And the thought is that we would also then, in advance of that, have a display in the library, hopefully including just laying the plaque in advance of having it installed. So look forward to that. Any questions about that? Okay. 2F, which is start for immediate action, is consideration of Resolution 19-3-2333, a resolution approving the terms of a 2-year contract with the International Association of Firefighters, Local 311. This was approved earlier at the Finance and Personnel Committee. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion on the resolution?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a
Second.
second? Alder Groupie, I think. Discussion?
These are the terms that the council has seen before. The union has approved it. Finance committee approved it earlier this evening. It's pretty self-explanatory, and we're ready to get moved along.
Yeah, be good to get this behind us. Any questions? Comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Contract is approved. It's good news. H, reports of committees, commissions, boards, mayor, city administrator, et cetera, city attorney, department managers. Mark, you still here? Did you have something to report?
No.
No. Okay. Get your
Couldn't
coat
duck
on. Alder Kerr?
Nothing to report.
All right, Alder Kitzler.
Nothing to report.
Alder Groupie.
No report.
Alder Moore.
Just again, wanted to thank the community and the Sustainability Committee, most especially for tonight's action. I also wanted to remind everyone, the hordes of people that watch, that we now have a resident energy survey up and running, and in fact, we have almost 200 responses already. And you can pick up a paper copy at City Hall, at the library, or the Senior Center, or take it online by visiting Monona City website, mymonona.com, going to the Sustainable Monona Facebook page, going to the Eastside Alliance's website, or look for the survey on Nextdoor and emails from family and friends, because I'm sure it's made it that way too already. So take the resident energy survey.
When's the
Good.
deadline?
The deadline is 3 months. It's not until June. But we're going to be working a lot of different channels. There'll be some PSAs on the radio next week as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Alder Spate, welcome back.
Thank you. I was hoping to bring warmer weather. Didn't work out. My apologies.
Good job. Yeah, that didn't work. City Clerk Andrews, anything?
Yeah, we're hard at work learning how to use the new electronic poll books, Badger books. Very excited about them. Yeah, I know. And they will be used at the polling places on April 2nd. We're very geared up for teaching election inspectors how to use it, but please be patient with them. It'll be our first time. They will be used for voter check-in, for voter registration, and also for absentee ballot processing. So we're hard into working about it.
All right. City Administrator Gatto?
Yeah, just 3 quick things. First, in light of tonight's vote, we will be putting out a press release on the 100% renewable energy resolution to the various media sources, hopefully tomorrow before the end of the day, to let people know about that. Second, as I've mentioned before, we will be having the in-person interviews for the city planner position on Thursday, so we hope to have an offer within the next week or so for our preferred candidate that comes out of those, with the hope to have that person start mid-April. And then lastly, the signed ordinance is scheduled for a public hearing before the Plan Commission next week, Monday. I believe Plan Commission meets at 7 p.m.
Mhm.
Yep, so that'll be scheduled for next week, Monday.
Right, thank you. So just wanted to note a couple things. So, one, the mayor will be back before too long, so everybody can relax, including me. I did want to welcome a new officer with the police department, Jesse Mashik. Was sworn in last Friday. I think Alder Groupie was there. So welcome. And then I just saw out here at the library a poster for this March 10th at 2 p.m. at the Dean House. There's a historical, not reenactment, but Melanie Litchfield is going to be performing as, I believe it's Belle Boyd, a activist in the Madison area. Now I'm blanking on what she's an activist of. Anyway, you can look at it looks like it would be very interesting. So if I could remember what it was, it'd probably be more worthwhile. Other than that, I don't have anything to report. There's no appointments. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.